I was putting in Christy and Sam into the title. So.
Oh, I think we're there.
Yep, it shows I'm live on Facebook. So.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Yep. Okay, so we're live, but we'll wait a little bit. See who we can get going here.
I'm still looking at your phone.
I just got to watch and see how many people get on before I get started. All right, we get going. All right, hey, they're jumping on early night. Good deal. All right, welcome everybody once again with us each and every week. The Behind the Mic Show. I am Sam Irwin with you. As you see behind me, we got the new Bears signee, new quarterback of the future for all you Bears fans out there. Your problems have been solved because the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, is coming to save the day. I'm sure that's going to really fix all of Chicago's problems. So I did that for all you Bears fans and Delaney and all that. But thanks for joining us tonight. And as always, the Behind the Mic Show is brought to you by Bill Atwood from North Wayne Insurance. So thank him for always being a sponsor and helping him out. We'll mention him again throughout the show. And with me, as always, week in and week out, and yeah, Fehrenbacher, I introduced, I'll say it again. That is Andy Dalton, once again, the Bears quarterback that's going to take him to the promised land. So he's whispering in my ear. What's he saying? Yeah, title this year. It's going to happen, Delaney. So you doubt him, but it's going to happen. So,
cool.
But with me every week, as you see in the, I guess he's my right or something like that. But in the green shirt, Brian St. Patty's Lane. How are we doing today? Look at that. You doing all right today?
Doing great, Sam. A couple things, wearing the green celebration of St. Patty's Day. Mountain King, great band from down in Wayne County. Check them out. They're on iTunes. And I think it's ironic, the day before St. Patrick's Day, it looks like the Bears sign a leprechaun for quarterback. I mean, this is like,
I think it's lucky. He's got a pot of gold.
It could be the luck of the Irish that's coming through here. I don't think he's Irish, but if he was, I would think it would be a better story. So, we will see what the future holds for the Bears and Andy Dalton. Happy early St. Patty's Day, everyone. No green beer tonight, but, enjoying the festivities.
That's tomorrow. That's right. And they're always after these Lucky Charms.
That's right.
And with us, as always, Mr. Happy with the signing. Brian, dude, looks like Delaney. How are you? I mean, I know the signing looks like it's got you down a little bit, but how are you otherwise?
Great. I'm good. I don't follow professional sports anymore or sports.
Oh, good for you. Give it up.
There's no sense in it. It's a waste of time. Jeff Fehrenbacher is number 14. Go. Yep. You got that, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm good otherwise because I'm now a Chiefs or Chiefs fan or whoever's the next greatest team. I'm a Tampa Bay fan now.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
I'll go like a Raiders. Raiders or someone on the West Coast. I could stay up later and drink.
Try it out
later.
Why not?
I'm hearing you.
Why not? Yeah, and you know what? I fully recommend to Bears fans at this point, just stop, give it up. Go somewhere else. Nobody's going to blame you because that whole organization is just a dumpster fire. They can't do anything right. But word is they tried hard to go get Russell Wilson and it just fell through. And now you got to get somebody else. So that's where we're at.
Really
but we'll talk about that later in the show as well. But so this week we have three special guests this week with us. We have NubAbility with us, NubAbility Athletics, which is a fantastic organization, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But with us, as you see up in the other top corner, we have Christy Har Richards from Floor, of course. Everybody knows her, Ace Hardware and all that jazz, and with her, of course, is her son, Braden. And we're going to talk to him, too, in a little bit. And as you see in the bottom corner, Sam Kunert, who has started this whole organization. So we're going to talk to these folks and really get into this incredible organization. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for making the time. And Sam, we'll go ahead and start with you. So your organization, as I looked on it. So if anything's wrong, blame your own Facebook page, but you're located in DuQuoin, Illinois. And it looks, by the looks of this boy, I'm guessing he played a little football back in the day. So that's what you do at DuQuoin, right? But a nonprofit organization. And basically the theme of that is we elevate the game of kids with limb differences in mainstreamed organized sports with encouragement, instruction, and inspiration from 70 accomplished limb different athletes who have all walked a mile in their shoes or blades. So my first question to you is, How did you come up with this? What inspired you to do this? And just your reason for doing it.
Absolutely. So, I was born and raised in DuQuoin, home of Indian football. One of the best in Southern Illinois. Got to mention it.
It's a fact. Yeah.
So, being born in DuQuoin, sports is life. If you're here, the one thing that you look forward to as a kid is being an Indian. And so for me, being born with one hand, a lot of people had a lot of concerns and stuff over what I would be able to do and who I'd be able to compete against. And I never let that stop me. I always used that doubt and everything to fuel me, and was able to go on to play in high school and even play in college. But my junior year of high school, with being the one-handed pitcher in Southern Illinois, there's lots of news stories out there. Everybody's wanting to cover the one-handed pitcher because he's like the only one in the state, it seems like. They even show up whenever you forget to wear a shirt to practice, and all you have in your truck's the half shirt from football. So you get an interesting interview in a half shirt, let me tell you. And your college never lets you live it down. But that interview happened to get to a organization called Camp No Limits out of Chesterfield, Missouri. And they said, hey, we teach children born with limb differences everyday life skills. We have fun with them, work on bow skills and teach them just different things that they need to go and grow up. Like, but we'd like to introduce sports to this. So with seeing your background as an athlete and everything you do on your own social media, we would love for you to come and work with our kids. And I was like, absolutely. For me, I had the absolute blessing of having my freshman football coach who had the same limb difference as me, Shane Boyette, who always pushed me and drove me. And he was even my mom's TA at one point in time. And so he was able to really help me grow as a kid and, show me that mentorship. And so when I had the opportunity to work with kids like me, I was like, absolutely, there's no hesitation. So my mother and I went to this camp, and it's an awesome camp, awesome experience. We get there and everybody's around this circle, and they're like, tell your name, your sport, where you're from, and what you like to do. And I keep hearing these kids talk, and they're like, hi, I'm Jimmy. I play soccer. Hey, I'm Billy. I play soccer. Now, I am from DuQuoin, and soccer is a sin in DuQuoin. So there's that. But I'm looking at most of these kids, and most of them are upper limb different athletes. And I'm like, soccer, how challenging is that? Unless you're playing goalie, you have both your feet, what's the challenge there? And so it gets to me, and it's like, hi, I'm Sam Coonard. I play baseball, basketball, football, hunt, fish, do weightlifting. You play soccer? No, that's a sin in my hometown, And what really started bothering me was I'm looking at these kids, and each of them said one sport. Now, granted, that one sport was soccer, so it was already, kind of sitting uneasy with me. But
not really a sport. Sorry.
They said one sport. And I was like, man, these are kids. Why are they only being subjected to one sport? In my opinion, kids need to be subjected to as many sports as possible in order to really experience life. And when I heard them all play one sport, I asked one of the parents, I'm like, why are you subjecting your child to one sport? They seem like a pretty athletic built kid. I feel like they could probably do well in other sports. And she said, Sam, we just feel like they're going to have the greatest success in soccer and that they'll fail in these other sports. And I said, well, yeah, they're going to fail in these other sports. Failure is part of life. You have to fail in order to learn how to succeed. And just started talking with her and kind of giving her my sports mindset, and could tell that I was not getting through to mama. And if you can't get through to mama, you got to bring in the big guns. Thankfully, I brought my mama with me. And my mama had a impromptu how to raise a limb different athlete parent forum, in which she basically just kept the parents out of my hair for 2 hours while I taught them how to throw and catch a baseball, how to shoot and dribble a basketball, how to throw and catch a football, how to swing a golf club properly. Just different things that I had grown up to teach myself, and allowed them that opportunity. And these kids picked up things that took me years to learn in a matter of 40 minutes to 2 hours sessions. And it was incredible seeing that God-given talent, but it was also heartbreaking to see that talent going to waste out of fear of failure. And so that night I went back to this boiling hot campground room, no air conditioning. It's 105 degrees. in Chesterfield, Missouri, and I'm covered in sweat, so I wasn't sleeping anyways. But then God's not going to let me sleep either. You know, I could just keep feeling this voice telling me in the head, "You need to change this. These kids need something. You need to change this." And so I woke up the next morning after probably an hour of sleep. I had a baseball game that afternoon, and my mom and I had a long drive back. And the first thing I asked my mom was, "Why are parents so protective of their kids? Like, you guys pushed me literally into the deep end to make me swim. You know, you threw me in the deep end and said, 'Swim. We know you can do it.'" And that's how it's been my entire life. They pushed me into the sports, whether they feel like I was going to succeed or fail. You know, they were pushing me into it. And to see other parents hold it back, I just didn't understand. My mom said, "Well, Sam, parents hate to see their kids fail." I said, but then I tried to use that same analogy I used on the mom with my mom. And she was like, "Well, I get it, Jock, but not all parents see it that way." And so I said, "Well, I want to change it. I want to start this camp for limb different athletes and amputees to teach them to play mainstream organized sports. So they're not going out there and competing in the Paralympics. They're not going out there and competing against kids like them. They're going out and competing against all the other kids, all the kids with their limbs. And they're going out there and not only going to compete against them, I'm going to train these athletes to where they can beat them." And so I recruited a staff of over 7. I think I had 7 coaches to start our first camp. And I recruited a Division I defensive end. I recruited a Division II safety for football. Myself, who was a Division III baseball player, a Division I softball player, a gymnast, and a Division I volleyball player, and the U.S. amputee soccer team goalie. I believe that's 7. I'm not sure. There was a lot of us. There was about 7 of us with 19 kids. And I just thought, this is what life is meant to be. This was God's vision. We're going to have one camp. Well, when you try and think of what the vision is and you look at what God has in store, man, it's bigger than you could ever imagine. Because to this day, so that one number that you said, 70 plus limb different athletes, our pool as of today is 125 limb different athletes from 49 states, 3 countries, and they come here to Southern Illinois for a camp to work with our kids. Now this year, we have to cut down on our numbers because of what COVID has done. But we're still looking at having over 60 coaches here in Southern Illinois. And then throughout our camps, which we're looking to be in 10 different states this year, we should be able to service all 125 limb different coaches to come into our camps. And out of that 125, I'm going to say probably 80% of them are former college or current college athletes. So the kids are getting
incredible instruction
to push them.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's fantastic. Christy, can you kind of walk us through, your story, with Braden, and then also finding this camp and what it's done for you guys?
Well, for us, when we adopted the twins, when we got the call about the twins, they had let us know right from the beginning that one of the twins was missing our lower part of the right arm, to see if we would even be willing to take him. Well, in my mind, it was like, well, yeah, I mean, who cares, So we took the twins in, and raising a limb deficient child is very different because every time you watch the twin do something, you're like, how is he going to do it? How's Braden going to adapt to that? And, how's he going to crawl? Because he's missing, a good portion of his right arm. And so our motto was, we're raising him normal. There is nothing wrong with him. He's a normal child. He won't ever think that he is going to go out in the world and that he cannot do something. We're not going to stop him. We're going to have him just live right alongside his brother. And that's just how it's going to be. Russ and me fight.
Yeah, you fight. You're right.
So anyway.
You're right.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but when we started wondering, how's he going to crawl and stuff like that? Well, we didn't have to figure it out. He figured it out on his own. And the thing was, is he'd sit on his butt and he'd use his good arm. And my gosh, that kid could just slide himself across that floor quicker than his twin could crawl on his hands and knees. Mm-hmm. And he just picked it up so quick. And the same thing is, okay, when he walks, how is he going to just learn to just stand right up and walk? Because most kids need both their hands to stand up and walk. Well, he just stood in the middle of the floor one day and just started walking. So we're just like, Okay.
Why right there?
So he teaches us pretty much how to do things. I mean, we don't teach him, he teaches us. And that's the part that's amazing to us because
We have
We-
homework tomorrow.
so
Hi,
it's
buddy.
amazing to
Yeah.
us.
Still gotta do that.
He's more concerned about the homework than anything.
Fair enough.
But
Better than me.
it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing to us though how he can, to where we just now kind of sit back and say, okay, Braden, how do you do this? What do you do? When he started playing t-ball, we were there again. We were like, how is this going to pan out for him? Because we don't know how to train him. We don't know how to make it happen. And so he ended up figuring it out on his own. He went up there and he just figured out how to hold that bat. He figured out how to swing it. And it was funny because I forget who his first coach was, but they're just like, well, go up there, put your hands like this and just swing. Well, then they stopped and they looked and they're like, okay, how do you do this? Because they didn't even realize at the time, really, he'd missed an arm because most people don't realize Braden's missing part of his arm because he acts so normal. I mean, he acts just like his brother and his sister. And so unless you know it, sometimes it's hard to even notice that it's gone because he's a normal kid. And we've never taught him to just run up and say, hey, look, I'm missing an arm. I mean, that's just not something we do.
Mommy, look.
He's bypassed a lot of things that we have ever thought he could do. How we found the NubAbility camp, I actually went on the computer and started looking up camps for limb deficient kids because we wanted something to be able to help Braden as he got older and perfect his techniques on how to play sports. Braden snowboards, he skis, he plays baseball, he's tried to play golf. Everything his brothers do, we include him. He rides a dirt bike. We actually bought him a dirt bike and had it modified to fit him to where he can do it all with his left hand. And he loves it because in our mind, he's never going to be left out. Everything everybody can do, he does too.
A dirt bike without training wheels.
Yes, you got a dirt bike without training wheels.
And I'm still,
And-
and it's a little dirt bike.
It is a little dirt bike. And there again, it's, I've got this, in our home with him, we have always said, never say can't. We will always figure it out. We'll always modify it, but we will make it work. And that's just how we've raised him. And his siblings forget sometimes and they'll make comments. Like his sister, she had a teaching moment the other day and she was madder than hornet at me, but tough. You want to make a comment, you're going to learn. And Braden comes running out. I button my pants. Well, to most people, it's like, she's like, really? You're getting excited because you button your pants? Wrong thing to say to mom. It's a very wrong thing to say. So I actually had her come up here. I said, okay, unbutton your pants. And she looked at me. I said, unbutton your pants. So I made her unbutton her pants. I said, now put your hand behind your back. Now button your pants. Well, I can't do that. Why not? It's that easy. Do it. She sat there for about 10 minutes and just hoofed and puffed and oh my gosh. And I said, now welcome to your brother's world. This is your brother's everyday life that you take, that you don't even realize that it's hard. And she never made another comment again. But it's, it's not even the fact of it was being mean. It was just the fact that it's, to her, it's like, okay, what's the big deal? Because she looks at him like he's normal. And in her mind, he's normal because that's how we've raised him. So, finding NubAbility, Braden going to the camp, he went to the first one in St. Louis, the baseball camp, and oh my gosh, he had loved every minute of it. He was beyond excited. And so we were going to go to the summer camp last year, but it got canceled because of COVID. So we're hoping this year he'll get to do the summer camp and participate in everything he wants. So, but
I got a hat.
he asks for a prosthetic. We don't push prosthetics because again, he needs to learn to adapt without, because not to sound horrible, but we live in a world that it's not adapted for kids like him. So he needs to figure out how to adapt into the world without a extra limb. when he gets older, if he wants one, by all means, we'll get him one. But right now, he just learns so much, and he still has feeling in his nub to where he uses that constantly. And we don't want to take that away by putting a prosthetic on it, because the prosthetics they have, they're not the fancy ones that you see on TV. They are definitely not that. So we've told him, if you absolutely want one, we'll get one. But talking to the prosthetic doctors, they've said majority of the time kids don't even use them because it just bothers them. So we'll wait and see as he grows older what he wants to do. But right now, he's all boy. We can't stop him. He doesn't sit still. He wants to play sports. He wants to do all. And Dad and I are going to support him in everything he decides to do. So,
And I want to go back to baseball camp.
yes, he wants to go back to baseball camp. That's all.
Hey,
Braden.
Baseball camp.
Hey, Braden, I'd like to see your hat, Braden. Can you show Mr. Sam your hat? Because he's going to like this hat, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
Alabama?
roll tide.
Roll Tide,
Roll Tide,
baby.
Wow.
No,
Roll
actually,
Tide.
this is his. He played on the Ace Hardware team for baseball, so this
Oh.
is
That's
actually
that's
Ace.
fine.
'cause
That's
we-
fine.
So we
I was gonna say
supported
Delaney
Always
in that household. Delaney, I'm doubting Alabama would be allowed.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a
Ace
Notre
Hardware.
Dame household there.
Ace
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Hardware.
of
right.
course, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sure.
yeah,
Fair
for
enough.
sure. That's awesome.
it.
What a great story. Sam, when is your next big camp coming up? And how do people find you? How do they help your organization? So kind of guide us that way.
Absolutely. So our next our next camp coming up is actually going to be, well, we originally had a turkey hunt scheduled for our NubAbility Outdoors program because I'm a big outdoorsman. I'm born and raised in the country. That's why I had to drive here to town so that way I can make sure that I had a good enough service for y'all. But our next hunt or our next camp is actually going to be an archery clinic in Hendersonville, Tennessee. It's either going to be the first week of June or the last week of April. I'm just waiting on confirmation on there. But our next big camp is our big summer camp here in DuQuoin. That's July 14th through the 18th. Our families check in on the 14th. Our assistant coaches arrive on the 14th. We bring in our head coaches a day earlier on the 13th to come in. And that camp, just to give you guys numbers, before COVID, we were projected to have 250 different kids from 49 states and 13 other countries come to DuQuoin, Illinois, which equivalates out to, once you have coaches, volunteers, sponsors, everybody in attendance, families, about 800 people in DuQuoin High School. DuQuoin is, honestly, I mean, I know you guys are from Southern Illinois, but man, it's hard for me to pick another town in Southern Illinois than DuQuoin because they have literally rolled out the welcome mat for my foundation. Since 2013, we've held it here. I held our first camp in 2012 at Greenville University, where I was going to school. And then we brought it here to my hometown, and it's no longer NubAbility by Sam and his mom. It's now NubAbility by DuQuoin, Illinois, which is just absolutely awesome. And couldn't happen. And I have to throw out because I heard you guys say, you're in Wayne County and Flora. So one of our big sponsors is a guy who I competed against in high school from Flora. You guys might remember Paul Knapp.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Napropane.
Mhm.
Napropane has been a big contributor of NubAbility, and I can't thank Paul enough. And when I asked him, what made you sponsor these kids, he said, "Well, playing against you." He said, "I earned so much respect, and I want to see those kids get what you had coming in and play." And so Paul's just, an awesome human being, and his family is. But anyways, our summer camp, July 14th through 18th, we'll have 19 different mainstream sports that kids will have the opportunity to participate in, including archery, wakeboarding, tennis, golf, and then you have all the sports that you can get a scholarship in for sports. Because our goal is, yes, we want to get those kids. We want to get them owning their difference. We want to get them out there owning their difference and getting the confidence to go out and compete in anything in life, not just sports. Then we also have the experience with all of our collegiate coaches that if a kid wants to make it to the college level, we can get them there. We've sent over a dozen kids since we started to college programs. One of our campers right now is playing for the same school where I played baseball, playing over at Greenville University. He's a one-arm basketball player. We've got a couple baseball players out there. We've had soccer players. it's very, very versatile how many coaches who we've actually sent from being campers to college, and then now they're coming back and coaching, which is just, so cool. But as for how you can support, you can go to NubAbility's Facebook page. There's a donate button there. You can go to our Instagram page. I believe there's a donate button there. We try to put the donate button everywhere we can, because these camps are, they're not cheap, but we always try and make it as effective as possible and as efficient as possible for our families, to the point where, here's our scholarship policy. Are you ready for this? You apply and you receive. If I don't have the money, I'm going to go get it. Because every child deserves the opportunity to go out and compete in mainstream organized sports, and money should not be a hindrance. And so, if families need help, we help them. We want everybody, every kid, to have the opportunity to experience NubAbility, because there's really nothing like having a mentor who looks like you, who can walk you through not only sports, but through life. And our coaches are not just sport coaches, they are life coaches to these kids.
Wow. Outstanding. Wow. I got a new, I'm a fan for sure.
Yeah,
What a great
absolutely.
person. What an absolutely great person. And speaking of which, you talked about this stuff is not cheap to do. It costs money. So we have kind of partnered up with Christy as well to do this. Some people have already done it, including Carly down there, who's going to join us here in a moment to talk Illinois basketball. But we are doing with the NCAA tournament. If you get with Christy, whether in person or she has a Venmo, which is at Christy-Richards-77, or on PayPal at KMH Richards. I think that's correct on that one as well. Or just send her a message. She'll walk you through it or whatever. $10. All you got to do, if you want to donate more, donate more. That'd be great. If you want to do 10, that's fine. It'll get you in the tournament. I've set up a Yahoo fantasy tournament to where you can make the picks and all that. We'll pool the money. If you win on all your picks, you get half the pot. The other half goes to Christy and this organization to help kids out. And then the more kids we can help out, the better. So if you got your stimulus money, chip in $10. Come on.
Kind of pick a bracket anyway. Just throw in $10.
I was going to say, you're going to do a bracket anyway, so why not do something? And then Kelly is just said KMH Richards is her PayPal, so that's right. So yeah, KMH Richards for the PayPal as well. So send it to her. We want to get this rolling, get this as many as possible. And like Delaney said, you're going to do a bracket anyway. You're not going to win. So you might as well do something that helps these kids out.
Do something with your money.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Can you
That's right.
write that off as your taxes probably too? I'm not really sure about that, but
You could. It's a donation. Why the hell not? And the more you do, the more you write off on your taxes. So why give it to the
Kelly,
government? Give it to great kids and families. So yes. So there is
the
expense
Venmo
because
as well.
there's- Yeah, go ahead, Blaney.
So, I'm sorry, just wanted to get the Venmo as well. So people want to use that. It's at Christy, Kristi-Richards-77 as well. So if you don't use PayPal, use Venmo.
Do it. And we'll post that on the page as well. But please make sure and do that whenever she, she just lets me know that, hey, I got this from this person. Then I will contact you, get your email address. That's all I need. I send you the email, then I'll give you the password and all that. And you make your picks and we're off and running like a herd of turtles. So, it's a great organization. It's a great thing for kids. Sam, you're a fantastic person for what you're doing. Keep it rolling. Any help you need, reach out. You've got my phone number now. I would love to be able to volunteer for that in July, you said, so I'll be in touch.
Sure.
It's not that far from me. I'm in Paducah, Kentucky, so that's really not that far.
No, not too far at all.
No, so I think that would be cool to really go and be a part of that. It sounds like an awesome experience. So those of you out there, you can either donate to Christy or go on Sam's page as well. It's very easy to find, NUB and then Ability all together. Athletics, you'll see it. It's bright red. I had it on the page. You can chip in there as well. And all the money that's collected helps these great kids out. So in saying that, anything else? Delaney, anything for these fine people before we let them get back to their evening? Christy's got a house full of kids and probably a bottle of wine that she's getting ready to crack open, I would bet. But any other questions that you can think of?
No other questions for me. Just again, a great organization, a great, just a great thing to support. We're glad to have you on the show. I would love to maybe following your camp with COVID and everything, we could do a follow-up show just as kind of a bring them back on. How did it go? And keep promoting this, because this is one of those things that I think the show should promote ad nausea, because this is definitely a great organization, a great thing for kids to have the experience of, and for, just again, overall seems like a great guy. helping out a family that we all know, and just the amount of kids he's impacted and allowing them to play all sports, which we're all firm believers in, I think is a great thing. So no other questions from me.
Absolutely. Delaney, what do you got?
I don't have anything more questions, just a comment. You guys should be so proud of yourselves and how you're raising your children, how you raise yourself. And I was joking around earlier about Andy Dalton, the Bears. That doesn't matter. This matters in life. These are the kids that matter. These are, like you said, not just sports lessons, but life lessons, how to learn how to do this or that, to just everyday stuff. And to give these kids that opportunity and somehow manage it financially, how you do it, Sam. And you guys just be very proud of yourselves. And we, like Lane said and Sam, we'd love to continue to support you. Please keep in touch with us, and we'll do what we can to help promote your site and the whole thing itself.
Absolutely. And if you guys shoot me over each of your emails, I'll send you guys over a copy of my audiobook, so you guys can really dive into the story. So if you guys just
And what is that book? What is that book, and where can they find that?
It's called Game Changer: How to Thrive When Life Doesn't Go According to Plan. You can find it on Amazon, Audible, Apple Books, or something like that. Man, I honestly don't know. I put it in this ACX thing, and it's supposed to distribute it out to everybody, so I don't have to do the technology.
Perfect.
That's why Lane's here. That's why Lane's here.
I can't read, so it's perfect. You're reading to me. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, and I assume on that book, a lot of whatever you sell, a lot of that goes back into the organization.
Actually, the book itself is to me, but I always donate a portion of my paychecks and everything back to NubAbility. I'll never let NubAbility die. That's the one thing. COVID didn't know what it was messing with when it started messing with NubAbility. So we're always gonna keep going, and till this heart stops beating, and then I have faith that we've put enough out there to our campers and to our coaches that NubAbility never dies.
And once again, everybody that's watching, the importance of a strong mother. Sam is an example of that, because his mom was just apparently refused to let that hamper him. And you see the kind of man that she has helped raise, and it's fantastic. So kudos to you, Sam. Once again, you got my number now. So stay in touch, and I'll stay in touch with you, and keep up the great work. Christy, thank you again for making the time, even with that household of hooligans running around. And,
and thank you, Braden, for coming on the show.
Braden, are you? Yeah, there you are.
There you go.
Hey, buddy, you got anything else you want to say to us before we leave? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for the donations. Did you like that?
Absolutely.
People, look at that. You gonna say no to that face? There's no way. Braden, what's your favorite sport? Is it baseball?
You play baseball?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And basketball.
And basketball.
All right. Well,
Oh,
best
there's
of
another
luck.
one.
Best of luck in the upcoming baseball season, and we look forward to hearing about how the season went for you and how your camp went. So
absolutely, yep. And thank you again, guys, for making the time.
Yes, thank you.
Send you off, and we're going to move on to Carly. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Christy. Braden, thank you very much.
Shit.
So much patience there.
Yeah, lots of patience. So yep, there we go. Yep, what a great organization. Fantastic. So now we're moving into a second part of the show, and we want to welcome one Carly Hale, which that's a married name. I knew her as a different last name. She was actually, I want to say, a junior in high school at Hardin County whenever I got my first administrative job as an assistant principal. And boy, that group was just lucky enough for me to show up. What a disaster.
So
that
lucky. So lucky.
That's right. But Carly was a cheerleader. She also was a good softball player. Also, I believe won homecoming queen as well. So just, multi-talented. And
hey, Sam did too. That's pretty good.
Yeah, she's got it all. I mean, the resume is it's lengthy, but also hilarious. Big time sports fan, and that's why she's on tonight, because also she went by, I think maybe I was just the only one that called her, but Carlito back in the day. There may have been others, but anyway, big time U of I fan. She knows far more about U of I basketball than probably anybody I know. She goes to a lot of games, and she was at the championship game in the Big Ten tournament. So, Carly, welcome to the show. How are you this fine evening?
I'm doing good.
Very good.
Got the kids to bed early, so I didn't have to, drop any bad words on them tonight like we just did.
All right, I like this girl already.
Yeah.
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 I
Playing it
told my
ahead.
husband, I told
Playing
my
it
husband,
ahead.
like, we got to get to bed early tonight. We don't need to be viral famous for whatever I do to these kids.
Yes,
Right.
because she has 3 boys and they are ornery, would be my guess.
Yeah.
So, that's just the way it goes. The joys of having 3 boys. So Carly,
Yeah.
tell us about your experience at the Big Ten championship game.
Well, so glad I went. Last minute, we're like, tickets, we got to go. I cannot miss this monumental moment. There was only about 8,000 people there, but it sounded like 30,000. It was so loud. We were diagonal from Io DeSumo's family, his mom and dad and everybody. We ran into Deion Thomas when he was there. We ran into Sergio McClain. We saw Maverick Morgan. We saw a lot of old Illinois players there. Atmosphere is crazy. It was like literally probably 20, like to every 20 Illinois fans, there was maybe 1 Ohio State fan. So that made it even better. We don't want to deal with all them Ohio State people. But
Again, I like her better.
I maybe had the loudest, most annoying Ohio State fan behind me, of course.
Never fails, right?
Never fails. He kept yelling, "Where's the 3? Where's my 3?" And every time Illinois made a 3, I said, "There's your 3," like that at him. So he didn't like me very much.
That's all part of it. Yeah.
Carly,
And
did
to
they
let
have
you
some
be
sort of
back
like
to Michigan
assigned
fans,
seating or something, or was there?
Yeah, so they
bit?
kind of basically had spacing. So they had certain groups. They had like East. Go to bed. Sorry, look, already.
That's all right.
interruptions.
This show's real. That's what we work with.
Yeah.
Real,
That's right.
This is
real
real world.
family. So
Yeah.
don't sweat.
Real family, real people.
So
My wife's
yeah, so
baking
they
cookies. So I'm gonna get the hell out of here in a minute too. Anyway. So,
exactly. I'd almost do anything for cookies. So basically, everybody had to wear masks, and then they checked everybody's temperature before they came in. Seating kind of had certain groups. They had like groups of 4, groups of 2, and then they had the seats that you couldn't sit in, zip tied. They had people constantly checking to make sure you're wearing your mask. But I mean, spacing was pretty well, but they didn't really regiment it like whenever you were getting food or drinks or anything like that.
Sure.
They had about half the stadium filled. They had the other half blocked off. Like I said, there's probably about 8,000 people there is what I think they said. They had food and everything, so that wasn't too bad. But atmosphere was wild. I mean, so amazing atmosphere. It was just like full, is what it felt like. Game started off good. I was like, oh man, we're gonna smash these people. They were like 9 points for like the first half. I was like, this is what I'm talking about here. So I was like, yes, this is what I came for. Just to see how much Illinois has grown, and Underwood has brought this team from just 0 to the best is amazing. I think what really helped us was when Io was out those few games because he got hurt by that stupid Michigan. I think there's Michigan State. Yeah, Michigan State. I don't know which one of you like Michigan. Doesn't somebody like Michigan in here?
Yeah, just Michigan down here, not Michigan State. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nevertheless, still an enemy.
Yeah, nevertheless. Yes. Oh, funny thing, at the end of the game, somebody gave Io's family a sign that said, "Where you at, Michigan?" And they all took pictures with it and stuff.
Oh.
The rivalry is not there.
Yeah. Ooh, Michigan. We won't get started in that. But I think Io getting hurt was probably one of the best things that happened because it really proved to the team that we can still be a dominant force without, one of our best players. Stopping everybody defensive. I mean, King Kofi, as I call him, the tree of a man.
I was going to say, in person, how large is that human? I mean, what is it like?
He is, I mean, it's like 3 of me put together. It's like, how how is a child that large? Like, how is a kid like at 18, like, how do they make them that big at that age? I do not know. I mean, his legs seem like this big around. There's no stopping him. But I think his size is kind of a disadvantage at sometimes because they don't give him the foul calls that he deserves sometimes just because he's so big. You know, he gets beat up a lot. I mean, he gets beat up a whole lot.
Same thing as college age Shaq. Someone through the same thing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, he's went through the same thing. And I mean, that takes a toll on you. But he's really grown. He's really grown. I mean, he's always straight up. He's never fouled out. I mean, to be a big guy, he has never fouled out once. He did get in some foul trouble at this game, which kind of made me a little nervous. Not gonna lie. I was like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna do this if Kofi can't be in the game? But
now how did that go? Because you were talking about a big early lead, and then boy, things got a little close there.
Things got close there. We were missing dumb stuff. Kofi got out. We weren't making free throws. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. We are not gonna blow this big lead. And big mouth Ohio State behind me, who's letting me know that lead was gone. It was gone. We got to that half. I was like, oh, this ain't good. We can't be going into halftime this close. I mean, we were just, we weren't dropping the baskets, and they finally heated up. I mean, they did play. That was their 4th game in a row. So I was kind of thinking, we got this in the bag. They ain't gonna be making nothing. Then they finally started catching up, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like feeling a little nauseous. Here. I'm like, no. I was like, I cannot be the bad luck. I was feeling, man, maybe I shouldn't have came. Maybe I'm bad luck and we're going to lose because I came for this game. That's what I was thinking. I really was.
Well, it sounds like a hell of an experience. And then, of course, the celebration afterward and Big Ten champions, the real Big Ten champions, not like regular season.
The real Big Ten. I mean, like tell you, that Big Ten commissioner was there. And we all booed him. I didn't even know what he said because the boos were so loud. Boos were so loud. I have no clue what that man said. I don't even really care by his poor decision making. I mean, we all know. We all know the truth.
Delaney, your
we all know the truth.
Yeah, we know you lost to Rutgers and Maryland. Those are also things we know too.
Yeah, I also know that we had to reschedule that game because that you were supposed to play us right after you got out of COVID, because I think maybe we were just a little bit scared. Just a little bit
that's
scared
what it was. I'm sure that's what it was.
It probably was, because I'm pretty sure we smashed you. I'm
pretty sure that's what it was. Yep.
Delaney said, "Why gotta be bringing up old shit?" Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
he's like,
let's talk about 1989 too.
Can we not bring this girl back?
Born yet, I suppose.
Right not.
I was like two.
Yeah, that didn't even count.
Okay.
That didn't even count.
They don't count.
What did we have to go to? 07 and North Carolina. That one was another.
05.
Oh, that was
every 16 years, basically, like the Haley
the locust.
How long does that come around? Yeah, exactly.
Locust.
We're in a new era, my friend.
That's
We're
right.
in a new era.
If you say that, well, I'll tell you what. I gotta say, this Illinois team is really great. I tell you, mostly because Kofi's obviously good, but their backcourt is unreal. With Io, and then the Corbello kid is something else.
He's a
he
wizard.
Can get to the basket, can dish, and then Frazier's hitting shots. And the Miller kid, the freshman Miller, is really impressive. I like his game.
He's really impressive. And I'll tell you too,
Michigan really won it actually. So he's really playing well. And then Georgie they just got a lot of good depth, great backcourt. They got a stud in the middle that's just like trying to move a tree trunks. Trees out of the way.
And Georgie
well.
Georgie was monumental in that game there. I mean, when Kofi was in trouble, he came in and he really was a game changer. He got 2 and 1s right there in a row. I mean, that really helped. When he's on, I mean, he's good. And I mean, that's the thing about Illinois, I think that's going to push us forward, is that we really have a solid team. It's not just 2 good players. It's not just a great starting 5. I mean, we have so many players that we can go to and make things happen. And you can't even forget DeMonte Williams. I mean, he has really grown. I mean, his 3-point shooting is 57%. You're talking about a kid who made me nervous to inbound the ball his first year. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't give the ball to Monte. Couldn't even make a shot. I mean, he's hitting big threes now, which is helping. And going back to Corbello, I mean, he he gets his outside shot in, he's going to be unstoppable. He'll be NBA. I mean, the way he makes passes, sometimes I'm like, how did he even read that play? Like how, and he just weaves in and out. I'm like, ooh, every time he makes a move half the time, kid's good. I'm like, ooh, I felt it all the way on my couch, you know?
I told you guys she was a big fan.
Yeah.
She knows it all.
Yeah.
So,
and Trent, and talking about Trent Frazier, he does not get enough recognition. I mean, he is
No,
an
right.
amazing defensive play. I mean, he does so much defensively, and then he has stepped up more since Io got hurt. He has got a lot more confidence in his shooting again, which I like to see.
Perfect. So going forward, you know, Lane and I are not the big college basketball fans. I don't think that you two are. So, but going forward, Delaney, how do you feel about Michigan's chances? Carly, I got a pretty good feeling how, you know, your thoughts on Illinois' chances. But Delaney, let's start with you. How do you see this tournament playing out for Michigan? Do you think they make a run, or do you think that season didn't end too well and you're kind of concerned?
No, I'm terribly concerned because they lost one of their best players. They're probably their best scorer,
Livers.
Isaiah Livers. Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
got what seems like they're probably being coy about it, but probably a stress fracture. It's going to keep him out most certainly. I don't think they have enough. The horses, they have not been playing well. They're not shooting well. If Wagner goes nuts and starts playing, shooting the ball well, and Smith is able to distribute and have a game like he did against Maryland, maybe. I don't think they're strong enough to go past the Sweet 16. They have a pretty good draw. If Livers was healthy, I'd be very happy with this draw. They could play a very good Florida State team in the Sweet 16. I think they'd have trouble getting past them. I think they'll get past the first weekend, but after that, I don't have a lot of faith that they'll do well based on the Livers injury alone. And their backcourt is okay, but it's not great. And that's what's going to carry most teams to the tournament, is a great backcourt. When you have the switch of gears, the Illinois kids, they can handle the ball, they can shoot the ball, they can distribute. I think that's going to carry Illinois more so than Kofi or even Io. That they have a great backcourt.
Yeah.
I think that'll carry them at least to the Final Four, if not further. It's hard to say. We haven't seen Gonzaga play anyone for quite a while, so it's hard to say. They are ultra talented. The Suggs kid is unbelievable. He's a lottery pick. I saw him play in high school last year. It was unbelievable to watch him at that level. And then Baylor's a great shooting team, like great guard play again. So this could be a very fun tournament. And with COVID, who knows? It's going to be so weird because everything's in Indianapolis area and there's going to be limited fans. So it's going to be a little weird, but there's not going to be as much of advantage for teams. Columbus is not that far from Indianapolis, and not as many Ohio State fans as made as Illinois fans. So it's just going to be kind of weird, but I think it'll be fun.
How the other half lives.
Delaney's.
Usually, Carly, it's me with the internet problems, but Delaney's struggling up in Wisconsin. Struggle
that storm,
Well-
probably that storm they got.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Now, I will say, you know, if he's going to be out a little bit, he said that at the start, he's having trouble. But, you know, Illinois played in Indianapolis on that same floor just recently. So I think there's a lot of advantage to that as well. There's Delaney's back. Welcome back. Maybe.
No, it's frozen.
No, frozen again. Terrible. Terrible. But anyway, I think they have a big advantage on that. So, Carlito, your thoughts on Illinois? Do you see any major bumps in the road, or do you think they glide right to the Final Four and then they really start to get some competition?
I think they're I think they're winning it no matter who they go against. But I do think that we might have a tough route if we have to play Oklahoma State. I think, you know, they have the best player right now in college basketball, really. But Oklahoma State doesn't have anybody big enough to stop Kofi. You know, Tennessee, they're really good at defense, but their scoring isn't that great. I mean, truly, the only thing I'd be nervous about is if we had to play Ohio State again. Just because, I mean, it'd be really hard to beat them, it'd be 4 times? You know, that's the only thing I'd be worried about. And I think we're in a really great bracket to make it all the way to the end. I think Michigan has a really hard bracket. That's the one we would have been in if we wouldn't have won. Thank God. Who cares about Michigan? So I'm glad they got it, not us.
Their
You know, one
brackets,
thing
I
we don't have to
disagree
worry
on that one.
about, which I guess it'd be easy, but you know, University of Kentucky didn't make it this year. You
They
hate
sure
to
did
see
not.
it.
They
No,
did
and
not.
Duke as well.
They
Yeah.
did not.
Dude.
No,
Yep.
I mean,
They did not.
what did I see? It was like, when was the last time they were not in the tournament? It was like forever ago, like
It was like in the 70s or something. wasn't it?
70s,
Duke
like
and, Duke and
76
Kentucky
or
didn't make it
something.
both. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you hate
Yeah.
to see it, you know, for J.R. Lewis and Travis Cooper out there. You just hate to see it that Kentucky didn't make it.
But,
breaks my heart. But Florida
sure
did
they're
make
gonna-
it. They're not going to do anything,
gonna-
but Florida made it. So
They're going to talk about that on behind the or not behind the mic, the View from the Bench
View from the
podcast.
Bench.
I
yeah,
assume.
JR's View from the bench. That's right. So he'll talk about
I'm sorry,
Kentucky
I
not
bowed
making
out.
it. Sure.
What was the last thing I said? Hopefully it was poignant.
It was
Probably
beautiful.
that Illinois is
yeah, it was
gonna
beautiful.
beat
Yeah.
that
Yeah, you're having
Illinois is
some
going to
internet
beat
issues.
Gonzaga.
Mhm.
That's
Maybe.
what the last thing it was you said.
So there's that one thing with the Gonzaga has that chance to be the first undefeated since 1976 in the Indiana team. So
Mhm.
that's a compelling story as well. Again, we haven't seen them play anybody to challenge them for quite a while. So, and they got fresh legs though. So I don't know if that means anything. They got some nice senior depth. They got some unreal talent. It's going to be fun.
But I think that their bracket though is so, I mean, their conference is just so weak though. I mean, you know, Big Ten teams, I mean, we just play hard. I just, I don't think that they play teams that play as tough as what us Big Ten teams
definitely
play. I mean,
Mhm.
definitely not. And I think that's going to be a huge difference. And I don't think that their bench is as good as ours. I mean, I truly don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm, you know, have rose-colored glasses on or whatever.
Well, I
but-
think
You do a
Gonzaga's
little
going to
bit,
see
but that's okay.
going to see defense for the first time all year, probably.
Yeah.
Whenever now, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Illinois play Gonzaga earlier in the year?
They're
that right?
thinking of Baylor. They got beat by
No.
Baylor.
Yeah, that
Baylor,
was
okay,
Baylor.
Baylor. Mhm.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Baylor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. So here, the before we move on to the big topic to end the show, because it is 3/16, so it's Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. But before we do that, who is your pick to win the tournament? Who is it? Lane, who you got? We'll start with you. Who you got to win the whole thing?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the bracket enough. I do have one comment that'll probably make Carly mad, but
Oh, don't even then. I'm just joking.
trap game is second round. Loyola could beat Illinois.
And,
Don't they have
and
that
you know,
nun?
Loyola.
They do.
They got the
Yeah,
old
I mean-
nun, right? That always comes to the games. Yeah.
They're 20,
I
what,
think
20,
they're gonna
24
play
and
hard.
6, 24 and 6. I think that's the challenge in that bracket for Illinois. If they come across that team, that's the one. If they play them and they can beat them consistently, I think that they have a pretty easy road to the Final Four. That team could be a bump. Other than that, their bracket doesn't look that bad. But I think that was kind of a little bit of a shiv from the NCAA into Illinois right there, because that's not a great second round matchup.
No, and I mean, and you know, they're another Illinois team. I mean, their Cinderella story. You know, they did so well the last time. I think they have a lot to prove. You know, I think it is going to be a battle. I mean, I don't think you're wrong, but I think that will be a tough one.
Possible trap game. No, I'm not saying that's the one that's the it kind of doesn't, the matchup doesn't look great. But other than that, look, I'll go with gosh, I don't know.
You're going to say Gonzaga.
No, I'll put Illinois in the Final Four. I don't think Gonzaga makes it to the Final Four. I'll
really?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But
okay.
Yeah.
And who wins the whole thing, Lane? Give me a team.
Let me look here again. I did not do my research on basketball because I just donate to charity for my
right.
Well, that makes it okay then.
Yeah. So let's
let's come back to you, Lane. Let do a little research now.
Yeah.
Delaney, who you got? Who's winning the whole thing?
Well, I think you know, as much as Carly's not going to like it, I don't think Illinois will have enough to win the title. They've played great at times, but they also played overtime with Nebraska. They got beat by some other teams they shouldn't have. They tend to play down their competition some. Now they are super hot right now. They're playing really well in the unit. So I think that gets into the title game. But I'm going to pick Gonzaga by a hair over there, and we get that first time in 45 years perfect season.
Okay. And Carly, who you got? Carlito, who's your pick? Are you homering it? Are you saying Illinois wins the whole thing? Or you doing with your heart and your head? What are you doing here?
I'm saying my heart and my head says Illinois. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror if I didn't pick Illinois, though. You want to know the truth?
You should not. Yeah, you have to. You have to. You have to pick them because you're going to kick yourself if you put any money on it too, you have to put it on Illinois, because if you do not, and they win it, you're really going to hate yourself. Let me tell
Oh
you.
yeah, I might as well just like give up in life if I did that.
So
no,
Illinois is going to take it all.
Illinois is going to take
But
it.
no-
I'm telling you what, I think Underwood has just got something in these kids. He has driven them. He has motivated them. I think Io wants it. I think he stayed this one more year because he wants it that bad. And I think the whole team wants it that bad. I mean, like he said, they didn't come this far not to win it all, and they're not done yet. So I believe in them. I mean, they're like the everyday guys. I think that they go in there and they play hard. And I mean, yeah, they had some rough games at the beginning, but something has just turned on in them boys. And they,
Well, and like you said, maybe it was, him getting hurt, and it really brought them together
Yeah.
for that couple games. And now, it really gelled them to go the right place. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll see.
And I'll say this too. I don't think Iowa's going to go as far as everybody thinks. That's my upset, because I think Luka Garza is overrated.
Oh, boy.
He can
Here we
barely,
go. Here we go.
I cannot handle him. I cannot handle him. He can barely run up and down the court. And there's something about his face. I shouldn't say that about a kid, but I just can't.
Well, he
I
has a
don't like your
punchable face.
It's something about his
He's a good
face
kid,
that just
but he
makes it
does-
even worse.
Yeah.
Something about his
But
face
if
just
nothing
makes you not
else,
like him.
Duke and Kentucky didn't get him. So really, we're all winners, regardless of who wins it. Everybody wins. So that's exciting.
Woo!
You love to see it. I know
No.
nothing about college basketball, so I
Yeah.
just flip a coin. It's like, But you know what? Since we got her on the show and she was one of my favorite students, I'm going with Illinois as well. That's who I'll pick. Why not?
Thank you.
Got to support Carlito and Bush for being on the show. So now, Lane, pick up a topic. I got to go get something real quick, and then I'm going to be back for the way we're going to
I'll-
end the show here.
This will
So,
be
I'll
good.
Lane,
put-
a couple
Hey,
of
Carl,
This will be good.
I'll
Dude.
put my crazy pick out there. I was looking, and I went back and forth between Baylor and Bama. So I'll pick Baylor, even though that probably won't be what my bracket will reflect. I think it's kind of going to be a crazy bracket. And then to go back on top of what Delaney said, I think the only downfall to Illinois, besides that trap game, is that they're young, and they do tend to let
Yeah.
teams hang around a lot longer than they should. If they could actually close the door, like they should have closed the door on Ohio State the first half.
They should have.
If they can get that killer instinct in them, that little bit more maturity, to put those teams away very early and don't let them come back, you're looking at a very successful team this year. I just hope that the NBA doesn't pull them all away before next year.
Well,
Same.
this is going to
Yeah.
look like a very different team next year for Illinois. I have a feeling.
I think so.
I guess if I were you, Carly, I wouldn't worry too much about that Loyola game. That's a team that's not going to match up well with Illinois. It's a cute, fun thing the tournament did. It's not coincidental.
Yeah.
They could have put them against Michigan or anywhere else. I don't think they have the horses to stick with Illinois. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Illinois doesn't blow them out. In fact, they don't have the athletes or the inside game to play with Illinois. I mean, they may play for the first half, but Illinois will eventually pull away. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least double digits, if not more. Because
agree.
they
Smartest
Illinois
thing you
does
said all
have-
night.
they say they have enough nice depth as far as like upperclassmen and kids like Curbelo, who's got 18-year-old legs that can play and play and play and play. I think that mix of like young people and the seniors, or like Frazier and upperclassmen, is enough. That's important, I think, especially having like a kid like Frazier in the backcourt, as well as Io, who's obviously played around enough and is ultra talented. So again, I think that's how it carries into the title game.
Agreed.
We'll see. All right. Should be a fun tournament. Once again, those of you watching, thanks again. Thanks again to Bill Atwood and North Wayne Insurance Agency for being our sponsor of sponsors. And today is a very special day in America, as it is every year. And in fact, it's the 25th anniversary, basically, of one of my favorite humans on the planet. One Stone Cold Steve Austin took over the wrestling world back in the Attitude Era. And I even went and got me some Busch Latte for our friend Nicole Harrison, because by God, it is 316, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Carly also is a huge wrestling fan because her kids are huge wrestling fans. I think one of her sons is going to be a professional wrestler. Doesn't he have a ring name already? What's he go by?
Yeah, well, he's got two, like Mick Foley, he says. It's his good guy, bad guy one. So it's good guy's bread is bread. Yeah, don't know why. Like loaf bread, that's his thing. I don't know.
Right.
Go with it. His
Uh-huh.
wrestling move for bread is the breader RKO. Legit, so serious.
Love it.
And
Yeah.
then his bad guy's Ice. Ezra Ice is what he goes by. So
Ooh,
yeah, so
nice. Look at him. Already got the multiple. You got to love that. Absolutely. And Delaney, I don't know if you were big into wrestling back then when Stone Cold was taking over the planet or not. Lane, I know you watched with us some. You were into it a little bit.
No, I was
Lane,
being an adult.
what is one of your favorite memories during that Attitude Era and the I got this too. The Attitude Era and all that. What was one of your favorite memories of Stone Cold whenever he was really running hot?
I mean, the constant feuds with people he had were just outstanding. He had probably the next. I mean, he had the best mic game until The Rock came along, right? So I mean, like when he grabbed a mic, he got the fans going, and really the only person that, in my opinion, and I haven't followed wrestling a long time, but then the next person to that was The Rock, who could just grab a mic and get the whole fans in uproar either way, good guy or bad guy. And he was as a heel or a face. Stone Cold was able to do that as well. He could be both sides of the game, and really did an exceptional job at it. So probably, golly, there's the cement truck one. I think is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I think he did that in one of Vince's cars. Was it a Vet? I'm not.
That
It was a
was
Corvette.
good.
Yeah.
Corvette,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Put the cement into the vet. That was a great moment. And then just, I mean, he had the intro music too. I mean, once you heard the glass break and he started running out, I mean, it was
Perfect.
Yeah. Hear the glass hit your ass. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Delaney, were you into wrestling at all during that time? Did you? Or were you
Not
just
that
too
time.
cool? No.
No, I was being adult then. I don't remember much, but you know what made me think of this is that hopefully you guys have seen this. Do you ever see the guys on YouTube that does the Stone Cold ET?
No, I don't guess.
ET. You have to watch this guy. He puts on an ET mask and does the Stone Cold voice and orders food at like McDonald's or somewhere, and it's a great impression of Stone Cold. And seriously, you got to see it. I can't believe you haven't seen it as a Stone Cold fan. So
I'm going to have to look it up now. I got to look it up.
Please.
Absolutely.
Stone Cold ET, YouTube.
Stone Cold ET. I'm going to check that out. All right. Carlito, now, God, it's hard for me to picture you were old enough during that time. How old were you during the Attitude Era? Yeah, how old?
Like
5? I mean.
No, I was like 9 or something.
Okay.
But I used to watch. I'll never forget this one time when I was a kid, and I didn't know what suck it meant, right? So one time I didn't know.
That's probably good.
DX, baby.
Generation X.
So I went up to my mom when I was a kid, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I want some suck it toast like that to her." And my dad ripped into me. I didn't know what that meant. I told my mom to suck it when I was 9 years old or something like that. I got in so much trouble. And then I told him I used to go around telling everybody I was the toughest SOB. I didn't know what SOB meant either, but Stone Cold was, so I was, you know.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
Yeah.
Great times, great entertainment. We used to have a house full. I mean, Lane would come over and Yates and Talmont. And I mean, my God, we'd have a house full at my house. And I had wrestling posters up everywhere. And they had a hell of a racket because Stone Cold figured it out that when he did that Austin 316, and that's all he had on the shirt, that's the highest selling shirt ever in wrestling history. And then they figured it out that no matter what he does, then we get a new shirt next week. And then another shirt. And I was buying a shirt like every week. It's like, man, boy, they got a hell of a racket going on right here. And I think the money he made for that.
Here's the amazing thing, though, Delaney. You know what was missing from all of those great nights we had at Sam's? There was no woman with
not a woman to be found.
You know, all these stories.
I take offense.
There was no women, and whether it's basketball or anything else.
Yeah.
Devoid of
it'd be too much wisdom for one night.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We
get
would
some
know
girl
what
over
to do
there
anyway,
like,
frankly.
this is fake. Like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Yeah. Show some respect. Yeah, for sure.
No,
wrestling was good. Wrestling was good back then.
You know, and it was good, and now it's just terrible. And it's just awful. You hate it, but and Delaney shared the link. It looks like for the ET Stone Cold.
Check it out.
So,
oh, is he locked up again? Nope.
And so, would you guys say now? This would be impossible for Carly to answer. The like old school, like early '80s, late '70s wrestling was better, or the Stone Cold era?
Oh, Stone Cold for me.
Stone Cold era.
I will tell you, like the 80s, of course, I thought Hulk Hogan. Now, I was like what Carly was talking. that's what I was during like Hulk Hogan. So he was like a god to me. I mean, come Sunday morning, my ass was sitting in front of that TV and we would watch wrestling. Actually, we'd watch Evansville wrestling with Jerry Lawler first.
Sure.
And then after that was WWF at the time wrestling. And Hulk Hogan would wrestle every week. He'd wrestle a No Name a lot, you know, but then like, but I mean religiously. And I mean, I had the headband that Hogan would wear. I mean, Hulk Hogan was a god to me. And, you know, and then like Saturday night's main event, you know, that was a big night, big time. And then like my first WrestleMania that I remember was WrestleMania 3. When Hogan slammed Andre. I mean, news around the world, right? But it was awesome. And then I kind of fell off after that. I like Sting. Lane, you of course remember Sting back in the WCW days, and Flair, you know, I mean, my God, Ric Flair, you know. But then when Stone Cold came around, I remember I had been out of watching wrestling for a while, and I was just flipping through the channels, and I came on wrestling, and I'm like, oh my God, I ain't seen wrestling in forever. And in the ring was Stone Cold, who I didn't know who he was at the time, and a guy dressed up as Santa Claus. And I just watched Stone Cold whip the shit out of Santa Claus. I'm like, this is the greatest damn thing I've ever seen. And it just had me hooked from there, and it just went from there. So, Lane, what about you? Were you a bigger fan of the 80s, or what's that, Lane?
Was that Mick Foley that was Santa Claus, or was it just some other?
No, just some scrub, I guess, they had dressed up. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But what about you, Lane?
You know, as far as the mic game in the ring, the Attitude Era had it. The scripts and the promotions for the wrestling and so forth. I mean, I grew up the same way. I don't know, G Lane will talk about this, but I was pretty hardcore because we used to wake up at early in the morning when we had satellite. We would watch Japanese wrestling. You would watch the late stuff that they would push out from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Then we would get around to the weekend watching Evansville wrestling and WWF. And then anything else we could find, because I got pretty good at the satellite game where I could actually tune in other stuff. So I was picking up some overseas wrestling as well. So I watched like when the Von Erichs went overseas, and obviously the Von Erichs in Texas. So, but I watched it religiously during the Attitude Era, just like I did in the early 80s. I guess the early 80s got me hooked because there was some great characters. My first WrestleMania, I remember one when it was Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and who was this? Yeah,
I can't either.
Oh no! What? Yeah.
Paul Orndorff.
Paul Orndorff. I think it was those guys. Yeah. So great. You know, that was the first one I remember. So and then I remember 3 when Andre got slammed, and I was like, oh my gosh, Andre had never been slammed. My dad's like, no. I watched King Kong Brody slam Andre at Kiel Auditorium. So my dad was like giving me all the background. So it's great stuff. But so anyway. You know, I guess it's kind of a toss up. I mean, one got me into it a lot more, and then I just remember before I tailed off, it was the Attitude Era and the late rock stuff before I quit watching.
Yeah. So Carlito, as someone that was big in the Attitude Era, getting herself in trouble as a young kid, and watched it religiously, and now you're watching it with your kids. Do you think wrestling's really went downhill, or do you just enjoy it because your kids enjoy it? How does it compare for you?
Well, I think it's a lot more kid appropriate now versus
a lot of PG. Yeah.
I watched some of the old ones the other day, and I was like, oh my goodness, my parents let me watch this when I was 9 years old. I don't know how good of parents they were.
You got to think of some of the wrestlers. I was going to say just Val Venus, The Godfather. Some of that stuff. Sable
with his hoe train and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I used to watch a guy who had a hoe train on TV. I cannot believe that. You know, and I'm like, I would have never let Ezra, watch that stuff. But I think with COVID and everything now, I think they're trying to rely way too much on story and not enough talking. I'm not really into this whole Alexa Bliss Fiend thing. I don't know. I'm not too into that.
I like him.
I like the Fiend, but I'm not into the Alexa. I don't know. I'm not into Alexa Bliss with it. But actually, Ezra, his favorite wrestler is Ultimate Warrior. He likes to watch those older ones.
Oh wow!
Warrior, say.
Yes, he loves Ultimate Warrior. We were supposed to go around. He's like, oh, Ultimate Warrior. So
wow,
right?
Well, and word came out that you talked about not having fans and all that. Apparently, because it's in the state of Florida and they basically opening that up like they are Texas, they are going to have 45,000 people in that stadium for WrestleMania over 2 nights. So we'll
When
see
is
how
that?
that works. Yeah, and that's in
I know.
April, I want to say.
April. Yeah,
Oh, pretty
we
quick here.
April.
Okay.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
We might get tickets, we might not, just because we like our kid to go see a WrestleMania. But man, I wonder how pricey those things will
Ooh,
be.
ooh.
I suspect
Ooh, with
quite-
COVID and everything.
Yeah,
People are
yeah.
itching to go, I'm sure.
Oh
There's a
yeah,
lot
it's
of
gonna
Yeah.
it'll fill up
people
quick.
in Florida and
Well,
Gator fans, and those people love to
Did
get in there. And
well, they postponed the tickets. They were supposed to go on sale today, but did you see UFC is going to have full capacity for their next event? So I'm wondering,
Yep, and that's in
Yeah.
Jacksonville. So
yeah, so I'm wondering if they postpone tickets to see if maybe they could up the capacity that they can have for the event.
if UFC can fill it up, then why can't WWE? I mean, but here's my whole thing is, isn't there a liability on that? You know, when you're still dealing with a pandemic and you say, hey, let's put 90,000 people in there. Ooh,
Yeah.
man, that could be, they call it one of those a
Asking for
super
it.
spreader type thing. It's like,
Yeah.
so I'm not so sure, but hey, it is what it is. So we shall see. But once again, we want to thank Bill Atwood and North Wayne Insurance. Make sure and hit him up for all your insurance needs. Carlito, thanks for making the time. Always good to see you. Stay in touch.
You're
We'll have you back on the show again. Especially after
when
Illinois wins.
when Illinois wins. Yeah,
That's
and
right,
a
yeah.
great minds
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
alike
We'll,
right
we'll
there,
bring you
my
back
friend.
for the celebration. It'll be a celebration. And other than that, Delaney, anything for Carlito?
No, thank
Delaney,
you for coming
want
on
to
the
wish her
show.
luck, Delaney?
No, yeah.
Or, I mean, yeah.
no,
okay.
that's good. No, that's you guys got a great team, and you'll go far. I have a feeling further than Michigan will. If that makes you happy, I can be honest
That does.
about that.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say is, before I don't forget, Christy Hart Richards mentioned a little while ago. Can you let them know on the donations, if they're going to donate more than $10, please let her know. If it's for the tournament or just a donation, she doesn't want to mess anything up. So if you can just let her know, put a comment in your Venmo or PayPal.
Yes, and please, please, folks, spread the word on that. Join. It's $10, big deal, you know, and it helps a lot of these kids out. It's a great organization. So make sure and do that. You're going to play the tournament anyway, like Delaney said. You're not going to win, so why not just have fun with it and help kids out at the same time? So make sure and do that. And in honor of 316 Day, Stone Cold, after he would do a big win or after he stunned Vince McMahon or whatever, he'd get beers tossed. I don't have anybody here to toss beers to me, okay?
We can do it virtually, Sam. I can do this.
Yeah, and then I can act like a pitch him. But he would always get 2 beers like this. So in honor of 316, I've actually put towels on the floor.
I was just gonna say, does it got some plastic now?
What's that? Yeah, I should have got plastic, but I got a couple towels on the floor. So play along, everybody. So
Layton, after I do this, you can go ahead and send us home. But everybody, thanks for watching. Had a lot of fun tonight. Great organization. Make sure and contact Christy for all that and go from there. Thanks again to you guys for making the time. And you know what? Have a beer, everybody. Enjoy Stone Cold 316. Have a beer. Tomorrow night, have a green beer, whatever. Hey, things are starting to maybe get back to normal and we can have a life. So, and you know what, Lane? What I'm going to say tonight is that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold, I'm going to ruin my hat, because Stone Cold said so.
Salud.
Salud. Everybody, be safe. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Carly, for coming on.
I
Again,
enjoyed it.
thanks for
guys.
Sam and Christy. Great organization. Everyone
I can see why Stone Cold do that. You don't drink much of it. It's like Cookie Monster. It just kind of all falls to the side. But anyway, so
everyone
thanks,
have
everybody.
a great week.
Yep, Late Daddy sent us home.